had a friend introduce me to R-Link, primarily R-Link, and the whole blockchain space. And I'll tell you a little bit more about some of that as we go along because I think the stories need to be woven in a little bit. But I was blown away primarily around this platform. I'm a marketer to the bone. So when I saw the functionality of this platform, I was like, oh my goodness, I want to know more. And so one thing led to another, and I learned more and more about the blockchain side of things. And I think some of you are here because you were invited. Some of you I know are already involved, and you're supporting being supportive of the community. But I think there's going to be a lot that are probably like I was when I first started, and you're like, what? Like, what is this? It's so foreign when you first get started. But the one thing we all get, and this is what I want you to focus on, which is really what I keyed in on, is we get video conferencing, right? We've been on Zooms, we've been on Teams, we've been on Google Meets. So having a better version of one of those, like, right, we get that. So again, want to welcome you, and we're going to just jump right in and get started because I know everybody's time is valuable. We're going to try to keep this to as quick as I can navigate through all of it. I want you to feel empowered to ask any questions as we go along. We do have Rhonda in the comments. She's going to be answering any questions along the way. And if there's some she can't answer, we'll get to the end and we'll circle back. So let's jump in. A couple of things on the front side. We have to do just disclaimers just to make sure that everybody's covered down on the legalese. Feel free to take a screenshot of this, but I'm going to sum them up in just a few very distinct bullet points. You may hear some forward looking statements. We try not to make any claims at all because, obviously nothing is guaranteed. So there's no earning claims or financial advice. The digital rewards are for utility. We absolutely want you to do your own research. And then the information provided is for educational purposes. We're here first and foremost to make sure that you get the most informed that you possibly can about the opportunity that R-Link presents. And then the nodes and blockchains are governed by DGF, which is the distributed, and I've misspelled that, brutally misspelled it, distributed governance framework. Forgive the misspellings. But welcome again to the $1 trillion shift that no one is talking about. So I want to ask you a question. Imagine back in 1995. Now, some of you guys might not be that old. Maybe you are. But like my first business started in 1991. So a lot of times they say, well, the internet didn't really start until 1995. But I'm like, no, because I was actually here and, trying to conduct business before 1995. But it was limited. All of the techies, or all, I would say more, educational purposes, it took a minute for the internet to become commercialized. And if you remember, there was a lot of people who were like, oh my gosh, I'll never, ever use my credit card online. And now, like, most of us shop almost 100% online. At least I'll speak for myself. But let's assume that someone offered you the chance to buy a tiny piece of the internet before it totally transformed our world. Would you have jumped at that opportunity? Well, hindsight being 2020, of course we would now, right? Like it's one of those situations where, wow, if only you had known what you know now. And that's exactly where we are right now with blockchain technology. But here's the twist: the battleground isn't what you might expect it to be. It's video conferencing. It's something that we know, it's something we get. And video conferencing married together with the combination of blockchain. So I'm going to walk you through how these technologies are kind of converging to create $1 trillion opportunity that most people aren't even talking about yet. We're standing at the edge of something incredibly massive, and I'm excited to show you why this matters and how you can position yourself ahead of the wave. And by the end of this presentation, I want you to, my goal is to help you understand exactly why this shift is in fact $1 trillion industry and why it matters to you, and potentially how you get ahead of it and become a part of this ecosystem. So the I think one of the things that if we look back on all the things that we could have, should have, maybe would have, if we'd have just known, like, right, you can call it regret lane if you want. But people thought Uber was a dumb idea, right? What a dumb business model. You're going to get in a stranger's car. Like, didn't your mama ever teach you anything, right? Like, we've been taught not to do things like that. Or Airbnb, you're going to sleep in someone's house, like, or let someone sleep in yours. Like, are you nuts? Again, a business model that we just didn't see. Or Apple, yep, I wish I'd bought some stock in that fruit company. Or Bitcoin, maybe you wish that someone had told you about it in the early days. Or I'll use another example. Zappos, remember Zappos? Anybody remember Zappos in the early days? I was like, there is no way that women are going to buy shoes online. Like, that's not going to happen. They're not going to just go see a photo of a pair of shoes and buy them without trying them on. So, fast forward, these companies absolutely disrupted entire industries, right? I mean, that's the reality of it. And yet, so often, I think we miss those waves, right? We miss the opportunities. We've all watched other people catch these waves. So, someone bought, Apple at $10. Someone mined Bitcoin for fun. They didn't overthink it. They just moved early. And most of us, well, we watched and then we regretted, right? But this time, the wave isn't just about money; it's about control. So, imagine this for a second. What if every virtual meeting that you hosted helped build your future? Well, I'm going to pause there for a second because I want you to hear that. What if every virtual meeting you hosted helped build your future? Not just talk, not just video, ownership, access, leverage. That is what our link makes possible. And I think for those of us who are in, I'd like to hear, drop I'm in the chat if you're done with missing the big opportunities in life. Um, I think I want to share real quick my excitement over this. As I shared before, I was introduced to this through a client and a friend, Darren Kidd. Many of you know Darren. Some of you may or may not know him. I met him very early in his. Well, I've probably known Darren 10, 12 years now. And he calls me up and he says, "Hey Kim, can you go to Puerto Rico? I've got this um, new opportunity that I want you to listen in on." And he said, "Have you ever heard of nodes?" And I'm like, "Nodes? Like, no, like, is that like enlarged nodes, like, from the doctor?" Yeah, that was my frame of reference. That was immediately the thing that I thought of. And so he started dropping all these terms I'd never heard of, and at first I was like, "Yeah, I don't know about this," but it was a trip to Puerto Rico in February, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm in." But I spent the next few months like really just diving in. And what I got most fired up about was really this platform and the ability for us to use it for primarily conversions. Like I said, I'm very big on the business side of things. And I feel like that's the missing component for many of these video conferencing tools is there's no mechanism for us to engage and convert within those platforms. So I'm excited, one, because my journey along my entrepreneurial journey has been built on the next big thing. The early days of the internet, you had to have a website. Like, if you don't have a website in 5 years, you're going to be out of business. I heard exactly the same thing when social media came along, and I jumped all in. I was an early adopter of social media. I was an early adopter of live video. All the new things I've always been leading the charge on, and this is absolutely the next big thing. And one of the reasons why I'm so excited about sharing it with you today. So, if we take a look at patterns of disruption, I many times I think when it comes to taking or getting ahead of things that are happening, it goes through phases. Like, all truth passes through three phases, and this is author Schopenhauer actually came up with this concept. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed, and then third, it is accepted as being self-evident. In other words, first they're the butt of the joke, then they're public enemy number one, and finally everyone is using them like it's their idea. Blockchain is about to graduate from phase two. So you lean in, because what you're going to share, what you're going to learn, and what I'm going to share with you tonight is really going to shift the way you think about a lot of things. How you're currently using your video conferencing tool of choice. And I hope that by the time we're through, you're going to be like, why in the world would I ever use it again? So I want to dig in also to I'll call them the three biggest lies when it comes to the video conferencing space. Um, and I also clear the air maybe a little bit around, taking action when the opportunity knocks. So video conferencing is saturated. You might think, okay, Zoom has already won, Teams is everywhere, there's no room left. But here's the truth, those platforms are built on yesterday's model, and we're really going to dig into that a lot. They're centralized, they exploit your data, and they don't share a single cent with the people keeping them alive. Arlink isn't competing with them, it's replacing the entire foundation with something that gives you a stake, an ownership. So, no, it's not saturated, it's about to be disrupted. So, I want you again, lean in, because you're going to learn why this is going to be so powerful for you. And maybe you think, well, only coders or crypto experts can profit from this thing called blockchain. This one really holds people back, because they think blockchain, that sounds like super techy, and like I don't understand it. But I want you to think back to the early days of some of the other technological advances. We might have said the same thing. Social media, like, I don't get that. But I think this is a differentiator here. And I think because we do get video conferencing, that is where our link is different. You don't need to mine tokens. You don't need to write code. You don't even need to understand how blockchain works behind the scenes. The technology is doing the work for you. Your role simply is participation. If you can click, join, and share, you can earn or be rewarded. It's not about being technical, it's about being early. And then you may be thinking, well, it's too late to get in early. This is another classic. I think we all tell ourselves this story every time something new comes along, because we've been burned before. But here's the deal, timing doesn't just matter, it's absolutely everything. Our link is in early adoption right now. It's already live. We launched in September. It's already growing at a phenomenal rate, but the economic engine behind it, that is still wide open. So getting in now is like owning a piece of YouTube before it was YouTube. So if any of these lies were like rolling around in your head, it's time to just turn those off, because the people who win in moments like this are the ones who stop waiting for perfect and start moving while the window is still open. Let me get me a sip of water real quick. Now, I don't know about you, but I hate numbers. um, but I think they're important. And the stats behind video conferencing is stunning. The video conferencing industry is worth 95 billion with a B, and that number is only growing. Every Zoom call, every Teams call, every Google Meet meeting out there, they're not just tools, they're pipelines for those organizations to profit from us. But here's the kicker, you're the one that's powering the whole system, and yet you're getting none of the value. You provide the data, you sit through the calls, you drive the traffic, but your current cut is a big fat zero. Big tech walks away with 100% of the profit, not just by hosting meetings, but by owning the infrastructure and collecting the data behind every interaction. And guess what? We just accept that. We've accepted the imbalance for too long, where the people creating the value don't get a share in it. Our link flips that model. Instead of feeding the system, you can actually benefit from it, because in this $95 billion game, it's time users stop being the spectators, right? I think we could all agree with that. And if you agree, put I agree, because again, we have to change this dynamic, and it starts with our own mindset. The next thing I really want you to again think about it. You're using your time, your attention, your data, and they don't pay you a dime. They get richer, and you get the bill. The big problem, though, that no one really is talking about is that And honestly, video platforms hope you never realize because they're too busy counting their billions. Centralized control is what we're looking at when it comes to traditional, I'll call them other platforms, whether you say Zoom or Meet, Google Meet or Teams or whatever. These tech giants are like that friend who insists on planning the entire road trip and then never lets anyone touch the radio. Right? You've had friends like that, I'm sure. They make all the rules while you just smile and nod, and then you have zero ownership there. You're basically throwing the world's most successful party where everybody shows up because you're hosting the meeting, right? But somehow the venue keeps all the cover charges. It makes absolutely no sense, and yet we do accept it. And then my favorite, that data exploitation. That word is hard to say. Your digital DNA is being sold like hotcakes at a baseball game, except you're not getting any of the mustard, the relish, or even a napkin in return, right? You're just giving them the information flow from your meetings, and they're selling it. So this isn't just another tech rant, it's your wake up call. Once you see the system for what it is, Arlink isn't just cool, it's practically inevitable. It's time to flip the script from thanks for your data to welcome to the ownership society, and that revolution starts right here and right now. So, Facebook has been one of those platforms, obviously, that we all use. I would say the majority of us are on Facebook, probably on the daily. This is one of the earlier, uh, back in, I think this was 2000, I want to say 2004 when Mark Zuckerberg actually was interviewed. And in that interview, he was asked, well, how are you getting this data? And his response was, well, Facebook users are dumb, bad word, for sharing data and giving up their privacy. Now, obviously, this is a pretty brutal quote, right? But it was honest. And whether, he said it in a moment of arrogance or, just a Silicon Valley swagger, the takeaway is crystal clear. Platforms like Facebook and others don't see us as partners. They see us as data sources. And the reality is we've let them, that we're clicks to monetize, assets to leverage. And the worst part, like I said, we've played along. We've given away our privacy, our behavioral data, and even our business conversations because we've never been offered a better option until now. So, again, thinking about shifting the mindset that you have around this, I think is a critical path here. So, again, let's take just a quick trip down memory lane. Web 1.0 was the dinosaur days. Wasn't that seems like going back to those early days of the internet, like 1995 to 2000 ish. Dial up was there. You wait forever. You read static pages while praying your mom wouldn't pick up the phone and kill your connection. So primitive that we might as well been sending smoke signals. But back then it was the thing, right? And then we had Web 2.0 ushered in the age of social media, video platforms, and collaboration tools. Sounds like some good progress, right? But here's the catch, it all became centralized. A few tech giants started building walls around the playground and charging admission. And then came Web 3.0, which we're just beginning to start entering into that space. There's still a lot of businesses that aren't even embracing this yet, but it's user owned infrastructure powered by blockchain. This is where things started to really shift. Instead of just using the tools, people began to own the systems behind them. And now enter the Arlink era. It's the natural next step in this evolution. Decentralized video conferencing that's privacy first, rewards participants, and it's built on an economic model that actually what includes you. It's not just evolution, it is revolution. And I think the future of this, of where we are, is inevitable. So remember the early days of of video conferencing. We had Skype when we first started out, right? I mean, how many of you guys remember Skype? And then GoToWebinar came along. GoToWebinar was really the only webinar platform for the longest time. Great for broadcasting, but not exactly built for engagement. And then platforms like Zoom, Google Meet, and Microsoft Teams took over. They improved usability. They made some, changes, and they became more of a daily norm. But they also doubled down on centralized control. More features, yeah, but the same same business model. You use it, they profit. Now we're standing at the next clear evolution, Arlink. It's not just another video platform, it's the first built on the blockchain, designed to shift power and value back to the people who actually use it. You've already made each leap in the timeline. The question is, will you make this one while the advantage is still early? I told someone the other day, and I firmly believe this. I believe that you can join and use the platform today, and or 6 months from now, because we are the next evolution. Will be the choice in the near future. There's going to be no other choice. um, so moving into the concept of what this equation looks like, or flipping the equation. The traditional models are going to use the platforms, or you use the platforms, companies get rich. You're basically the unpaid intern who, brings the coffee out while, the big wigs cash the bonus checks, right? But Arlink flips the script like a pancake on Sunday mornings. Instead of just using the platform, you become part of its engine. Blockchain magic turns you from an audience member to co producer. With Arlink, you're not just scrolling through meetings, you're helping power them and getting paid for it, or getting rewarded for it. And that's value flowing to you instead of being vacuumed away from you. This isn't just a feature change, it's an economic model shift, and it puts the power and the reward system back where they belong, in the hands of the people who actually use the platform. Like I said before, once you see this, you can't unsee it. And then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. So let's talk about what this actually looks like, though. You've heard how Arlink flips the big tech model, but we didn't stop there. We turned it into a blueprint, something anyone can plug into without needing tech skills, blockchain knowledge, or startup capital. This is what we call the Arlink participation flywheel, and it's a super simple 3 step system. One, you use it. Every time you host or join a meeting, you're contributing to this system. You can power it. If you run a rally node, you're helping the system stay fast, stable, and secure. Or you can own it by holding rally tokens. You step beyond being a user and into shared ownership. And here's the kicker: every step of this adds momentum. The more people use it, power it, and own it, the faster this entire system grows. You've all heard the flywheel model, right? This is the power of a flywheel. Not hype, just force multiplied over time. Use, power, own. That's the new game, and it's built to include everyone, not just the insiders. So, not just the bigwigs, in other words. Anybody can participate. So I want to introduce, and we've talked a lot about Orlink, but let's see what it is at its root. The first video conferencing platform that doesn't treat your data like an all you can eat buffet. That's first and foremost, right? Your privacy is absolutely 100% first to us. No digital peeping toms, your meetings stay yours. Imagine that, like your data stays yours. We do not sell your data. Business ready. It's not just for awkward happy hours. We've packed in marketing tools, AI functionality, and customization that doesn't require a computer science degree. And the kicker, you get rewarded for using it every time you use it. These aren't just cute digital confetti, fake rewards. They're actual rewards that can grow in value as the platform expands. As that flywheel starts to grow in strength, so will the value of the platform itself. So instead of just feeding the Zoom machine, you're finally getting a slice of the pie that you helped bake. Welcome to video conferencing that is actually built and designed for you. Now, let's talk about um, how to get in on this Arlink action. So I think I don't think there is 3 core ways to do it. You can use it. You can start with video calls that don't secretly sell your conversation data. That would be a start, right? In fact, like I said before, once you see this, you can't unsee it. At a minimum, I encourage you to do this. You can earn rally tokens just for showing up and doing what you're doing already. Or you can own a rally node, become part of the backbone, install some software that helps power the whole shebang. And don't worry, if you can install a smartphone app, you can handle this. You can do this. You can also hold Arlink tokens. You can jump into the first ever tokenized video conferencing economy, not just watching the rocket launch, but actually being on it. And whether you're just dipping a toe or dipping your toes in, or going all in, jumping all in on the deep end, there's absolutely room for everyone. I think that's where Arlink really starts to stand apart, honestly, is the ability for anyone to participate. Most platforms treat you like a renter. You pay to use their tools, and that's it. You have zero equity, zero say, and absolutely zero participation in the upside. Arlink flips that. It's built around a fundamentally different idea. You help power the platform, and you get rewarded for it. Pretty simple, right? And here's how it works: you help run the network. When you operate a Rally node, you're contributing to the infrastructure that keeps Arlink running. It's like having a behind the scenes role in a tech platform that's actually growing. And then if you use it, share it, power it, you get Rally tokens for that. Not useless internet points or digital stickers, actual value that you can see and that will grow over time. And then you can own a piece of the pie. You're not just a user anymore, you're a stakeholder. It's the difference between renting a beach house and actually owning beachfront property. That's our link in a nutshell. Now, let's get real for a quick second. And if you're every time that you run a Zoom or a Teams meeting or a Google Meet, you're feeding their system, your data, your attention, your network, your communities. And what do you get? Yeah, you're right. Nothing. No share, no control, no acknowledgement. They build their empire and you're the engine, but definitely not the owner. And that's not an exaggeration. There's billions of meetings on each and every year. There's literally hundreds of thousands of meetings every day, trillions of data points. You've been powering someone else's system without ever asking if there's a better way. Well, because before now, there really hasn't been, but now there absolutely is. Let's clear something up. I think a lot of you may be like me, like, what is this thing that you are talking about, Kim? What is this node thing? Um, when I first heard this concept, yeah, I was like, okay, I think I mentioned it before. It's not something that your doctor finds during a medical exam. A Rally node is your personal little worker bee in the Rally blockchain. It's software that processes transactions while you're living your life. So it acts independently. And the best part about this is you can check with your accountant, but guess what? It is also a tax write-off. So if you decide that this is something you want to have ownership in, check with your accountant, have them write it off as a tax a benefit for you. The sweet part, though, every time someone uses the system, your little digital software minion is earning you Rally tokens. Now, I know this sounds techy, but it's more set it and forget it than you need to learn coding in the middle of the night. You just own it, and it hustles for you 24/7. So imagine a network, or imagine that the Arlink network is like this big digital highway, and digital and the digital and the video meetings are the cars that are kind of zipping down the highway all day. When I lived in Tampa, there were all of these toll roads. Right, every time you went somewhere, you ran through the toll booths. But imagine if you own one of those toll booths on that highway. You're not driving the cars, you're not directing traffic, you're just sitting back collecting a little something every time a meeting passes through. That's exactly how a Rally node works. You're a digital toll booth in the world of decentralized video. And unlike those real toll booths, you don't need to work the night shift. You don't have to wear a reflective vest, and you don't get yelled at by impatient commuters. You're not chasing sales or referrals. You're just quietly collecting value while helping power a system that people are already using. Like I said, we don't have to convince people to use video conferencing platforms because they're already using them, right? Which gives us an awesome opportunity here. And I want you to think about it maybe in one other way. I always like to give people a couple of different analogies. You know how cell phone companies pay landowners every month to put towers on their property. They need the space, and maybe the landowner, the farmer, has the space, and boom, the farmer gets monthly checks for doing basically nothing. That's exactly how a rally node works, except instead of renting out your backyard or your farm or your field or whatever, you're offering up a small piece of digital real estate. Your rally node becomes part of the R-Link network's infrastructure, and it helps handle video traffic, keeps things running smoothly, and most importantly, it earns you rally tokens in return. So think of it like this: a cell phone tower that you don't have to mow around, no maintenance, no roof access, no, we'll send a crew between 8 and 4. It's the same win win setup. The network gets the infrastructure it needs, you get rewarded for providing it, and you don't have to do anything weird like climb on your roof with a wrench. Like I say, it is a win win scenario. Now, at this point, you may be thinking, okay, sounds pretty cool, but do I need to know how to code? Do I need a server farm in my garage? Like, I mean, these are all legit questions. Am I about to get sucked into YouTube tutorials for 6 hours? And nope, not even close. So here's what makes this so different: you don't need to code. You don't need to know how. The software is designed for regular people, regular humans. You don't need fancy hardware. Most people just host their node using a third party cloud provider. That's what I do. And I think pretty much everybody else does. So, what you think, super simple setup, no humming box in your living room, right? You just set it up once and it works, it runs. Once your node is online, it's quietly doing its thing in the background, processing that network traffic, keeping the system running, earning you tokens as people use our link. So, sounds good, but what does this mean for you? You're not speculating on some maybe future. You're not joining a trend that might take off. You're stepping into an actual network that's already live and growing. And instead of being a bystander, you're actually helping power it. So think of this like digital ownership that pays you to just exist in the ecosystem. Sounds pretty good, right? Um, Now, if you can understand what a node is, or now that you do understand what a node is and how it works without any of those tech headaches that I think a lot of times we think, oh my gosh, this blockchain sounds hard. Let me pull back the curtain on what's really happening here. The reason that big tech gets richer every second isn't magic, it's the system. They designed the game so that they always win while we just pay and participate. But here's where everything changes. I'm about to share 3 secrets that the video conferencing giants hope that you never discover. Secrets that flip their entire model upside down and put you in the position of power. Secret number one is going to completely change how you see online meetings forever. And like I've said it several times, once you see it, you cannot unsee this stuff. Let's break this down visually, real quick. The hidden truth behind what this actually looks like, and I put a kind of a visual, simple chart to tell the story. I think sometimes visuals help a lot. So at the top, we've got the platform owners. They built the system, yes, but it's your time, your meetings, your energy keeping it alive. Then there are the shareholders. These folks may never have even used the platforms, but they are getting paid simply because they own a piece of it. And then there's you, that little bitty slice there, the user, the one actually generating all the activity and the value. What do they get? Zero, zilch, the company prize behind door number 3. This isn't just unfair, it's a business model designed to treat you like walking, talking data instead of a partner. But here comes the plot twist. Our link recognizes that value that the creator deserves more than digital breadcrumbs. And because, well, let's be honest, being at the bottom of someone else's pyramid, that party stopped being fun a long time ago, right? Um, so the exploit model in action, if you're not being paid, you're not the customer, you're the product. You host the meetings, they monetize your data, you get nothing in exchange. And the platform that shares rewards with the people who power it. Um, I mean, think about this. What is this going to look like? Imagine that every meeting that, um, well, let me back up for a second. I know we've talked a lot of gloom and doom, right? Like, let's talk about what it would look like, though, when the model is actually fair, when the people fueling the platform get rewarded for their role in it. And that's what Rlink was built to do. One, you can use the platform, you earn rally tokens every time you have a meeting. That's the reward ecosystem. You can host meetings, you get rewarded. You're not just creating engagement, you're growing the network. And then you can also run a node. You're helping power the whole thing, and you receive rally tokens for it on the daily. This is ownership in action. This is what it could and should look like when you help build a platform. Um, let's play this out for a second. Imagine that every meeting you host, not just the big ones, but the casual check ins, the client calls, the workshops, every single one is helping to grow a decentralized network. And instead of that value going to some corporate boardroom, it's coming back to you. Now imagine that every session flowing through your node, whether you're in the meeting or not, is earning you rewards in real time. Just the value of being exchanged in a system where you're finally a part of the equation. That's what Rlink is unlocking for you, a platform where your presence, your participation, and your infrastructure matter and get rewarded accordingly. um, and here's the wild thing that everyone's traveling on. That's secret number two. You can now step back, check the backstage in a booming industry. You don't have to convince people that they need to be doing video calls because they're already doing it without coding skills, venture capital, or knowing someone who knows someone in Silicon Valley. The infrastructure is open for business, and those jumping in now aren't just early, they're positioned to win every single time someone clicks join meeting. While everyone is still paying to play, you'll be getting rewarded when they play. That sounds pretty amazing, right? Um, the so if you power the platform, you are currently powering the platform, and they're keeping all the profit. But imagine every meeting, message, a minute that you spend. Yeah, like I said, right now you're building their empire brick by digital brick. Your reward, absolutely nothing. This is a one-way value highway. But guess what? It's finally, like I said before, time to flip that script. These platforms were never designed to be for us. Really, they were, our content creates the value, they capture our data, the shareholders collect the profit, the cycle continues. But the thing that is interesting is how much money they actually are making. And we, like I said before, we generate none of that revenue. Zoom made 4.3, a little over $4 billion last year in revenue, in 2023, and we, as end users, made absolutely nothing. Um, this is where timing becomes absolutely everything. Just like Bitcoin mining, remember those early miners now lounging around on their yachts? How many Bitcoin billionaires? Now we seem to know a few, right? But there's stories about them everywhere. Early bird gets the fat rewards. You're helping build the network when it needs you the most. If you are late to the party, you get a thinner slice of the pie, not because it's worth less, but because the foundation is already built. It's not a marketing trick, it's economic design 101. And that knockout punch is because there is a fixed number of nodes, period. Once those nodes are claimed, then it's game over. There's only 100,000 nodes in a blockchain project, or in this particular blockchain project. So, well, once they're gone, like I say, they are absolutely gone. While everyone else is still thinking about it, you could be locking in your position where the rewards are obviously the juiciest and the spots are still available. Let's shift gears for just a second. Let me take another sip. I tell you all this talking. Hold on, girl. So while you've seen how Rlink flips the ownership script, here's the cherry on top. It actually makes your meetings work. So let me explain that. And this is really what fires me up the most about this platform. Most platforms help you talk, they help you communicate with each other or with others. But our link, it helps you convert. This isn't just blockchain powered video chat. It's backed with AI tools that transform your boring meetings into money making, relationship building magic machines, is what I kind of the way I look at it. There's no gimmicks or tech that needs a PhD to operate, just tools and resources that help you sell, engage, and grow while you're still in the meeting. This is where most platforms wave goodbye, but for our link, it's just getting warmed up. So, for some of you who've seen the platform, and for some of you who haven't, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the platform resources, the ability that it has, and then I'm going to show you a few examples of it because I think that is a powerful thing too. But our link has, like I said, some conversion functionality that all the others don't. In fact, it's a unicorn in a field of donkeys. Man, while other platforms help you talk until your face freezes, like, and you want to poke out your eyes sometimes when you're on those Zoom calls, right? Our link is laser focused on helping you convert. So think meetings that actually make you money instead of just killing your will to live, like, right, like sucking the life out of you. Um, One of the things that our link does, it has an AI translator. In fact, if you just go up to View right now and the click on it and go down to View Captions Translation, you'll see that the translations can be. You can choose one. It'll start with English, just for those of you who are English speakers. But if you are, your first language is another language like Mandarin, you can start seeing those translations come across the screen in another language. So if you've got a global audience, no problem. One click and you're suddenly multilingual. We've got clickable CTAs. Can you imagine dropping your offer button right into the meeting, right into your event? When those moments of inspiration strikes, your audience can take action without, hunting through their email later or looking for, a resource or going to another sales page somewhere. You also have the ability to brand your meeting space like you own it, and it'd be a reflection of you because guess what? You do own it. No more looking like every other boring corporate Zoom call. And this isn't just shiny new tech. I think it's your secret weapon. It's turning nice meeting you into, shut up and take my money. Oh, which for those of us who have businesses, I think that's a big opportunity. So let me show you a couple of examples. Let's say I was recommending something on one of my calls. People ask me all the time, well, what video or what webcam do you use? Okay, boom, I can pop it up on the screen. And when I pop these up on the screen, by the way, this is a clickable link in the moment. Let's say I'm a real estate agent and I'm doing a meeting and I'm like, hey, here's a property. You showed an interest in it. Let's book a private showing today. They can go book a private showing right here, right from the meeting. Same, any of these, like I said, these are all poppable or convertible, high converting opportunities. And I'm just showing you just a couple of the examples so that you kind of get a feel for what they look like in action. Here's get access now. This is a buy now opportunity. These are all, like I said, you can click on any of these links and go to those locations. So having clickable links on the screen is absolutely huge. And like I mentioned before, obviously, I think one of the things that most platforms do for us, and they do it well. And there's no real value. Most of these platforms, we're not loyal to them. If we're using Zoom or Google Meet or whatever, we just follow the link, right, and we go to them. They help us communicate, but our link helps you sell. It's when every feature that is built into our link is built to transform those boring meetings that we're so tired of into deal making machines, and basically to get people to take action. So you can drop booking links into some in case someone's interested in booking a call, or showcase offers while the attention is hot, or close deals before anyone can say, "Let me think about it." So our link is for creators, coaches, and anyone tired of meetings that lead absolutely nowhere. So sales teams, I mean, think about it. In what capacity would some of the resources that I shared with you just now be applicable? You know, people. You may be that person that is like, oh yeah, I need this. So let me show you what this looks like in not in theory, but built into reality. The R-Link money making magic in 3 steps. Your offer appears exactly when minds are ready. Attendees can click, they can buy or book without ever leaving the call. The entire flow is seamless and built into the platform. It's a sales system that lives inside of your meeting room. It's pretty darn clever. So imagine, if you will, that you're running your usual meeting, you're coaching, you're selling, whatever your thing is. But when it wraps up, two amazing things just happen. You closed deals right there in your meeting. Your offer appeared exactly when minds were ready. They clicked, they bought. No, I'm gonna think about it. The doom loop, I call it. And then the best part, you've earned tokens just for existing, just for hosting that meeting, attending, or letting your node do its thing. You got rewarded for being part of the system. That's the R-Link magic, combining those actual business results with automatic network rewards. You're not choosing between making an impact or making money. You're doing both simultaneously, which is absolutely huge. I think this is the shift that for some of us, just to think about it, it's not just Web 3.0, it's Business 3.0. It's the next evolution in how business is going to be conducted. So 3 ways to join the future of video. Option 1, just use the platform. Option 2, you can own a rally node. Or option 3, you can acquire R-Link tokens and be a part of the system or get rewarded for that. Be a part of that ecosystem as the platform grows out and the value builds out in those builds out going forward. Here's what we've built in to support you. We've got step-by-step onboarding, comprehensive guidance for any option that you choose. We have community access to private support and success communities. We're really big on supporting those that become a part of our community. And we have training materials, clear, easy to follow resources to help you get up and running fast. Here's, I think, what sets our link apart. Obviously, in the future of Web 3.0 and next gen video conferencing, we have that real participation. We have the built-in AI conversion tools and a reward system designed to benefit actual active participants. And you're not just using the platform; you're contributing to the future of how it's run, and again, being rewarded for doing so. But the window is closing. This isn't just limited, it's final. Like I said before, R-Link has a fixed supply ecosystem. Once the maximum number of nodes have been claimed, there's going to be no more created. So fixed supply. I think there's 100,000 nodes in the Rally blockchain, and there's no new nodes after that cap. Once the maximum nodes are claimed, like I said, no more are created. And then early adoption secures your position before the mainstream awareness. As the more users we get, the more traffic flowing through that infrastructure, those nodes. And early node operators positioned are absolutely positioned to earn more or the most because the early bird gets the worm here. I think sometimes though, when it comes to looking at this through the lens of why people miss out, people wait for guarantees. By the time something is guaranteed, the biggest opportunities are gone. I think a lot of times we underestimate the timing. We fail to recognize when technology as it is at an inflection point, and then they don't act when it's still an opportunity. Hesitation during that critical window of opportunity. The moment where most people hesitate and miss everything is that hesitation phase. The most wait for, okay, let's just wait it out, like that proven technology, and they miss that window of opportunity, that growth period. And then we have that inflection point where we are now with our link right before mass awareness. And then we have the adoption curve where, early position secures maximum rewards as the network grows exponentially. And then once mainstream adoption hits, early advantages are permanently locked in. Um, the the question is, will you move while it still matters? You don't have to build a platform. Already done. Check that block. You don't have to create the technology. Don't have to do that either. Already done for you. You just have to say yes while it's still early. Right now, you have a decision to make. Do you want to be one of the few who saw the shift before it was obvious, or one of the many who looked back and said, "Oh, darn it, I missed it again"? So again, three simple steps. Try the platform. Highly recommend that you give it a go. Claim your rally node or R-Link tokens. Secure your position before they're gone. And then join our community. Become a part of the network powering the next generation of online communication. And will you be a part of that infrastructure or watch it happen again? This $1 trillion shift in video conferencing is happening now. Like I said before, you can jump in now, or you'll hear about us more and more. And in 6 months, you're like, I heard about that like 6 months ago. I need to take a look at that again. But those who position themselves early are going to own a piece of this infrastructure that powers the future of online communication, and you're not going to want to miss this. Don't miss your chance to be a part of this revolution. Here's what you get when you claim your node. You get a lifetime node license. You earn a permanent piece of the Arling network. Your node license never expires, which gives you that early position. When you buy your node, a blockchain is a singular line. So it based on, as people come in, and you get rewarded for people who come in underneath you just because the way the tokens flow back through the blockchain. We have a simple setup process. We have a plug and play guide that makes it activation easy. Actually, the person who invited you here tonight will also be your guide. There's no technical expert experience required to start earning rewards. We have an exclusive community of people who support you and love you up on this journey. And then we also have ongoing support. We have weekly sessions to keep you informed. Early adopters are going to get first access to new features and governance votes. There's no company here. We're all a part of this ecosystem. We all get to vote when change happens or for those changes. So if you were to go out today and try to replicate an opportunity, if you wanted to get some blockchain consulting, it would probably cost you 10,000 plus. If you wanted to, start a Web3 company, just even to put equity into Web3 startup, it's probably going to cost you 25K or more. And then a SaaS infrastructure, expensive licensing with, recurring overhead costs. But a rally node is a fraction of the cost with permanent ownership, and the rewards possibilities it just continues to expand. So claim your node at the current early access price so that you can lock in your price. You the dynamic pricing model prices increase by $100 for every 100 nodes sold. So this today is the cheapest it's going to be, because it's absolutely going to continue to go up as the nodes continue to sell. And then rally nodes are placed sequentially on the blockchain, as I mentioned before, meaning that early nodes have strategic positioning within the blockchain ecosystem. And then as R-Link scales, the earliest contributors are best positioned to grow with the platform, not just use it. So would it help if someone walked you through it? It's a super easy setup. I don't want you to get back to the person who shared this with you. If you're like, I've got to do this, I need to know how. We can help you activate your rally node super quickly. It doesn't require crypto knowledge, coding experience, or technical background needed. And then we have thousands of people, successful node owners that have already gone through this. So we've got proven support models. We're here to support you. We've designed every part of the process with simplicity in mind. You'll go from sign up to active participation in minutes, not days. And the window, though, is closing fast. The network is growing as more people join our link. The entry cost rises, and then those early adopters are going to secure the greatest advantages. The price increases, like I mentioned before. It does increase every $100 for every 100 nodes sold. You're still early though. This presentation means you're among the first to know. This privileged position won't remain open long, and then the opportunity is real. Waiting means paying more for the same benefits, others secured at lower prices. So, obviously, now is your best opportunity. And we are getting back. Let me see. Yes, looks like we are at the end. I somehow managed to go have the disclaimer at the end of the presentation again. I don't know how I managed that, but I want to just close up with this thought. Please, please, please get back to the person who shared this with you, um, and say, "Hey, I'm ready. I'm ready to jump in. I want to be a part of this." Again, you can do this in three different ways. You can say, "I'm just gonna. I want to try out this platform." Definitely do that. Check us out. I think you're going to love it. Two, you can say, I want to be a part of this infrastructure. I want to own a piece of this infrastructure. Maybe you go say, I'm going to buy my first node. You can also buy tokens as well. So there are three different opportunities for you, and you don't want to miss out on them because, like I say, you're going to hear more and more about us. You have the opportunity to be a part of something and own a piece of it if you so choose to do so. So I'm going to take just a minute and see if we have any questions that didn't get answered. Rhonda, I will let you tell me if we've got anything that I need to address.
I believe between myself and some of the community members, most of the questions have been answered. But one thing that I think is important for people to understand is that Arlink is a proof of action blockchain project. So if someone invited you here today, you need to get back to the person who invited you, and they will share a link with you. And because it's a proof of action blockchain, we reward people for sharing. So they'll get tokens for sharing, our link with you. And if you decide to become, whether you use one of the three methods that Kim mentioned, whether purchase a node or you just want to have access to the product or the platform. All of these are different ways you get rewarded as proof of your action on the blockchain. So, I think that's important to note. There are a lot of questions that have come in since I started talking, Kim. So,
Yeah. So
let me take.
I don't want to get too deep into the tokens and how that works because I would really like to refer everybody back to the person who invited them here because then you can get the personalized responses that you need and also get help in getting your nodes or your tokens or getting your account set up because like Rhonda said, each and every person that is on here or whether you've invited someone or